Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Blue Wave. I'm your host, Max Lopez. We got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be starting off with AOC endorsing Biden in what could be the beginning of the end for Marianne Williamson's campaign against Joe Biden. Wisconsin governor increases school funding for next 400 years using a loophole of his veto power of the Wisconsin governorship. Really smart hardball politics here. We got a pro DeSantis suburban mom worrying about the abortion ban and how it's going to affect Ron DeSantis's chances of being the nominee. I've been saying this stuff for months now, if you've been watching me. Mike Pence not buying the idea that the rich should pay their fair share. Real shocker there, right? Next, we have the lieutenant governor in North Carolina telling Moms for Liberty, which is this conservative group, that it's time to start reading Hitler quotes. Yes, Hitler quotes. That's right. You didn't mishear me. He's telling them it's time to read Hitler quotes. And ended off something fun. There's a search underway for a missing pet wallaby in a rural Oklahoma town. I didn't know these things were even here in the United States or that you could own one. Apparently this thing is missing. Very sad. So let's get into it here. We got AOC endorsing Biden's campaign, sending a strong signal of Democratic unity. So we've been hearing a lot about how Joe Biden's campaign, especially in 2021, in the early part of his administration, that progressives are not happy and that we want somebody else other than Biden. And if you look at polling, in fact, there's been strong sentiment that shows that a lot of Democrats don't necessarily want Biden to run again, or if they could choose, they would have somebody different run. But what I've always thought is that when the rubber hits the road and it comes down to it, and it's going to be Trump versus Biden, 99% of Democrats are going to line up and support Biden, as they should, because the alternative is so disastrous that it cannot be even entertained for a second. Doing something that is going to hurt Joe Biden's chances of winning re-election. So here it is. We got AOC has endorsed President Joe Biden's re-election campaign, sending a strong sign of Democratic unity from one of the party's most liberal members. I think he's done quite well, given the limitations that we have, Ocasio-Cortez said on the Pod Save America podcast Thursday. I do think that there are ebbs and flows. Cortez, a self-described Democratic socialist from New York, has sometimes bucked Biden and the party leaders, including in voting against the deal the president negotiated with Republicans in May to raise the nation's debt ceiling and casting the lone Democrat vote against the spending bill to keep the government operating and avoid a partial government shutdown. She endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2020. Biden is facing challenges from Marianne Williamson and anti-vaccine activist Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Ocasio, when asked about whether she'd support Biden, she said, "I believe given that field, yes." The Congresswoman said she felt Biden had a strong start in his presidency with the passage of the American Rescue Plan aimed at relief from the impact of the pandemic and the Inflation Reduction Act, a major climate and healthcare law. But Ocasio-Cortez said there are also areas I think could have gone better. Hey, totally fair. That's basically where I'm at with Biden. I think he's been a great president. I think that he's done a lot of great things. There's certain areas that I think he could have pushed harder and done better in certain areas. That's totally fair. But and Marianne Williamson, I like her. Okay, I like her message. I like her spunk. I like her progressive points that she makes. I just don't think that 2024 is the time for her. Okay, and I think that she's somebody that might have a future in politics, and she's somebody that us as progressives, I might take more of a hard look at her in 2028. But I just don't see it being a viable option for us as Democrats to challenge Biden at this point, because it's going to feed right into the narrative that the Democrats are a party in disarray. And what we should be doing as Democrats is uniting as much as we can and showing contrast to the Republican infighting that has been on full display really for a while now, since the 2022 midterms. Like, you could say that it's picked up quite a bit. And it's culminated in McCarthy's failed speakership bid that took 14 votes. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene being kicked out of the House Freedom Caucus, which I might cover in tomorrow's show. There's just a lot, and then DeSantis and Trump going at each other every morning. Not a great look for the Republicans, and I'm proud of AOC for endorsing Biden early and not leaving any room for speculation as to whether or not she's going to be supporting him. Wisconsin's governor has increased school funding for the next 400 years using a legislative loophole. Now, this is the political hardball that I want to see Democrats playing. Let's stop playing nice. Let's stop playing fair with this fascist cult that is the Republican Party, because there's no point. They're not ever going to play nice or play fair or play by the rules with us. So we need to start waking up and smelling the coffee and being just as harsh and using every tactic we can to leverage, to get help to whoever we can in this country. That's truly what I believe. And, you know, the optics of there's nothing to worry about in terms of optics, in terms of, oh, Fox News is going to turn around and run show after show after show about the crazy Democrats that are taking legislative action by themselves to increase funding or to strike down a Republican bill, what have you, because they're already nonstop running shows and running constant propaganda against the Democratic Party and against the left and against anybody that wants this country to be a better place for anybody but rich people. They're already going to run the propaganda. So let's might as well do what we can to help people, because they're running the propaganda anyways. So got this article here from CBS News. It says, Wisconsin governor 400 years veto angers opponents in state with long history of creative cuts. Wisconsin's governor attempted to lock in a school funding increase for the next 400 years by issuing a partial veto that angered his Republican critics and marks the latest creative use of the unique gubernatorial powers in the state. Wisconsin allows governors to alter certain legislation by replacing words and letters wherever they see fit. And Governor Tony Evers struck a hyphen and 20 to change the end date for a $325 per student increase from 2025 to 2425. Yeah. What a freaking badass move. 400 years of funding for school children. Awesome. With those seemingly simple changes, Evers enacted 4 centuries of funding increases that cannot be undone unless a court strikes it down or a future legislature and governor intervene. Everybody will shout and scream, said former Democratic Governor Jim Doyle, but he's got him. Wisconsin governors have the most expansive partial veto power in the country, because unlike in other states, they can strike nearly any part of a budget bill. That includes wiping out numbers, punctuation, and words in spending bills to sometimes create new law that wasn't the intention of the legislator. Evers' partial veto extends a school funding increase further in the future, 402 years that the United States has been a country, 247 years. It's creative for sure, said Bill McCossin, a lobbyist who previously worked under former Governor Tommy Thompson. Creative, but not unprecedented. Reshaping state budgets through the partial veto is a long-standing act of gamesmanship in Washington between the governor and the legislator, as lawmakers try to craft bills in a way that are largely immune from creative vetoes. Vetoes, even the most outlandish, are almost never overridden because it takes 2/3 majority of the legislature to do it. Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, during a Thursday interview on WISN, vowed to try, though he admitted it would be difficult. Vos called Evers' 400-year veto an unprecedented brand new way to screw the taxpayer. Yeah. This is awesome, guys. Like I said, we need to stop playing nice. We need to stop pretending that the Republicans are going to do anything to help the country. We need to use our power to elect Democrats into office and to use the power of the office to benefit the American people in whatever way we possibly can. The Republicans are going to scream. The Republicans are going to wail. The Republicans are going to throw a fit in the corner that there's someone doing something to help any school children have more funding. They'll kick and scream and wail, but at the end of the day, there's not jack shit they can do about it in this case, because the governor is a Democrat and the governor is using his power to help people out. So we want more of this, people. If we want more hardball politics from the left, well, let's elect more Democrats into the House, into the Senate, and let's reelect Joe Biden as president of the United States of America. And we'll continue to get more and more of this. I guarantee it. Pro DeSantis mom is worrying that his abortion ban is going to hurt him in the primary. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and months now, that Ron DeSantis is not going to be able to beat Donald Trump in a primary, and it's because he's further to the right on some issues, and this is causing the never DeSantis, or sorry, the non-Trump, the never Trump, the we don't like Trump people in the Republican Party. They're not consolidating behind DeSantis because on some things he goes further to the right than Trump on. So that's why we're seeing a smattering of support across multiple candidates, such as a Nikki Haley, such as a Tim Scott, such as a Chris Christie, such as a Vivek Ramaswamy, such as a Asa Hutchinson, even though that guy is probably way down there at this point and his campaign is probably going to be over any day now. But yeah, like I said, DeSantis has been struggling to pick up support from various different groups, minorities, women, never Trumpers, and it's not really boding well for his candidacy and for his campaign. So let's watch this clip together of this pro DeSantis mom sharing her concerns about Ron DeSantis' campaign.
Focus more on the culture war.
We will make sure, as president, we leave woke ideology in the dustbin of history where it belongs.
The Twitter backlash they experienced made these women more receptive to parts of DeSantis' fight against wokeness, but not all of it.
I'm wondering if you think that DeSantis's, very public war on woke distracts from the message that you like about him.
A little bit, I do. Yeah.
Because, to be honest, I do feel like it would be really good to have a big public debate about what did we get wrong in COVID.
The left doesn't want to have that debate. They're never going to allow that debate. I think there's a lot of kind of incendiary tactics being used to smear him. I think
he did sign a law that restricts transgender care for adults as well as kids.
I have greater concerns about the 6-week abortion ban.
Tell me about that.
I think if he made it clear that he's a states' rights person and that he's not looking to kind of pass a national law in this regard, I would be less concerned.
Not everyone in their Twitter orbit agrees on his tactics, but these three do think Florida's new 6-week abortion ban is bad.
I think that's dangerous. That's something that I cannot get behind, and I don't think that's going to bode well for his presidential campaign. I think that might be a real impediment to bringing in moderate women.
Wow, she used the same words I did. Not going to bode well. That was kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, these women are totally right. That first one, you can see the cognitive dissonance happening where like this guy DeSantis is saying things and doing things I don't necessarily agree with, but they've already hung their hat on him being the one to go up against Trump. So it's like it is DeSantis or bust at this point, because there's no other real there's no other challenger that has a tangible shot at taking down Donald Trump at this point. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't really understand. DeSantis has been coming out against LGBTQ rights. He's been coming out against abortion rights, and these women are. It's like where have you people been? You know what I mean? What news have you been paying attention to? Because this is the Ron DeSantis and this is the Republican Party that has existed for a long, long time. And the whole states' rights thing, you know what I mean? The fact that DeSantis can get up there and go, and the GOP at large can make the argument of, yeah, we took away abortion and we took away Roe v. Wade, but we just want this to be a state problem. We want it to be, we want this to be a problem that the states figure out themselves. They never meant that in the first place. You know what I mean? It's a bit of wishful thinking and a bit of short-sightedness to just take the Republican Party's statements at face value when they were saying that they just want this to be a states' rights issue. Because shortly after the fall of Roe v. Wade, I don't know if you guys remember this, okay? Clarence Thomas went out and said very clearly that there are other things that we want to look at as well. There are other court decisions that we want to look at and might find to be wrong as well. And people went, oh crap, what does that mean? Are they coming after birth control now? Are they going to be coming after gay marriage? Are they? So, yeah, if you could just pay attention to that, and that would tell you that it's never been about states' rights. It's always been about taking rights away from as many people as they can. And Trump, he's not even as harsh on abortion as DeSantis. And what that's going to do is it's basically he's not winning over any Trump voters. He's not winning over any moderate Republicans. He's not winning over really any group of people to his coalition and his cause at this point. And it's going to end up in Ron DeSantis' campaign. Ron DeSantis' campaign being put in the dustbin of history where it belongs. Mike Pence doesn't buy the idea that the rich should pay their fair share of taxes. Shocker, right? Shocker. A Republican candidate is coming out and saying that the rich should not have to pay more in taxes and that he does not want to tax the rich in a higher, more aggressive way than is currently being done. Just a shocker, guys. This one put me on the ground because I couldn't believe a Republican would ever be in support for less taxes for the rich. I could not believe this. Just kidding. It's their only platform that they have. So let's look at the clip of Mike Pence real quick and talk about it after.
The rich, but I'm somebody that I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. I mean, when you look at the statistics of where we actually get funding for the government, the top 10% of earners in this country. I'm some.
Okay, so what he goes on to say there is the top 1% of earners or 10% of earners in this country pay the most in taxes. And that is true, but the reason they pay the most in taxes is because they have such huge exploitative, ridiculously high incomes. So a person that makes $100,000 paying 5% in their taxes, and a person paying $1 million paying 5% on their taxes, person paying $1 million is going to be paying more, but they're also going to have way, way, way more left over than the person with less money paying the same amount. So this is why the rich should be, in fact, taxed at a much higher rate because that's what's fair, and then that's what leaves them with a similar proportional amount of income left over as the lower 90% of taxpayers. So I'm just going to bring up this article here real quick from USA Today. And this says, how do rich people avoid paying taxes? Wealthy Americans skirt $160 billion a year in tax payments. So they're not just, it's not just that rich people are not paying their taxes or they're not paying their income tax, because they have to. It's illegal if they don't. But they have ways and they have the resources to get their tax liability as low as it could possibly be, including various tactics that are pointed out in this article. So it says the top 1% underpay their taxes by $163 billion. How do the super rich avoid paying taxes? Foundations, gifting, family offices, investments, moving residency. So they have all these tactics and all these loopholes of ways that they get out of paying what they owe the government. And the bottom 90% of taxpayers, they don't have the resources to gift, to start a foundation, or to gift, or to invest, or to move. They just don't have that sort of ability. So what we mean when we say tax the rich at a higher rate, what we mean is let's make it to where it is a fair amount that is being paid by everybody in the country, and that everybody is contributing a certain portion of their income, and everybody is contributing to make America be as good of a country as we could possibly be. And it's just not surprising whatsoever that a Republican candidate doesn't want taxes to be raised on the rich, or he doesn't agree that the rich should pay their fair share. It's like, this is their only platform that they have. They have, let's take rights away from as many people as we can, and let's keep the rich not paying their fair share of taxes. That's it. That is it. And thankfully, we got a 15% minimum corporate tax by Joe Biden, which is finally implemented. It's ridiculous it took so long for a minimum corporate tax to be paid. But there's no reason that people who make the top 1% of earners shouldn't be paying way, 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 way more than they do. Because there's a whole bunch of people out there that could benefit from it. And let me just remind you that 5 people in this country have more wealth than the bottom 50% of the population of the United States of America. 340 million plus people. 5 people have more money than half of 340 million people. Is that a free country? Is that equality? Is that liberty? I don't think so. I think that If you want to go out and make a bunch of money, if you want to make as much money as you can, if you want to make tens of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, knock yourself out. Okay, knock yourself out, but you have to give back at a rate that is higher than the rest of the country that hasn't been as fortunate. Because as a society, in my opinion, a society is only as good as its worse off citizen. And going by that metric, this country has failed. This country has failed. And this country has not lived up to its promise. And this country has not provided an adequate, has not provided adequate opportunity for people. And the American dream is that anybody can come here and anybody can succeed. But if the rich keep stockpiling their wealth and not contributing in equal and fair ways, like Mike Pence wants it to be, this country is never going to live to its full potential. And we are always going to be a country with many, many people who are suffering and are struggling. And that's not a place that, personally, I want to live. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor tells Moms for Liberty that it's time to start reading Hitler quotes. This is just, I don't even know if I have a lot of commentary to deliver on this one, because I'm sure each and every one of you know how bad of a guy Hitler was. And I'm sure each and one of you know that 6 million Jews and 12.5 plus million people were extinguished in the Holocaust. In gas chambers, in firing ranges, and worked to death in the most unimaginable ways you could ever imagine somebody dying. And not to mention the, untold amount of people who died in World War II. But we have to start reading their quotes now, according to the North Carolina Lieutenant Governor? I might seriously gag. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here we go. Here we go, guys. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor tells Moms for Liberty it's time to start reading Hitler quotes. Mark Robinson told a Philadelphia audience on Sunday that dictators like Hitler and Mao are being taken out of context and that their texts are worth reconsidering, the New Republic reports. Robinson was one of several speakers, including 2024 presidential candidates Trump, DeSantis, Ramaswamy, Haley, at the second annual summit for Moms for Liberty, a parents' rights group that the Southern Poverty Law Center deemed a political extremist organization. They most certainly are. And here's the thing, whether you're talking about Adolf Hitler, whether you're talking about Chairman Mao, whether you're talking about Stalin, whether you're talking about Pol Pot, whether you're talking about Castro in Cuba, or whether you're talking about a dozen other despots all over the world, it's time for us to get back and start reading some of these quotes. Robinson, who has previously called communism a greater threat to the world than Nazism, said of the figures, most of whom were communist. Robinson's remarks are not the first time he or Moms for Liberty have cited Hitler. The North Carolina official, who assumed office in 2021, has a history of spewing anti-Semitic, anti-Black, and homophobic rhetoric online. God. Good God, people. Where are we at in this country? What has happened to the party of Abraham Lincoln? What has happened to the Republican Party? It's just fully mask off now, I guess. It's just fully, we're not even going to try to pretend like we're not fascist, anti-Semitic, hateful people who want to take out groups of people that we don't agree with. Just look at how they're treating the LGBT community. Just look at how they're treating transgender people. Just look at how there's groups that have been saying we need to go out and start taking out the trans people. And the Republicans don't disavow these groups. Now, are they out there? You might not have the Republicans out there whooping and hollering for Moms for Liberty or for their association with Hitler. But this is what a dog whistle is, okay? A dog whistle is a statement where you really are meaning one thing and you're really meaning a specific thing, and your statement has a specific meaning that is to be interpreted, but you're not explicitly saying exactly the harmful statement. So it's a way to get people to do your bidding without taking the backlash of people coming out and saying, what the hell is wrong with this group? So I just don't know when and how the GOP decided that Hitler is not such a bad guy after all. Like, this is where I do not see the Republican Party as a valid party. They're not. They're a fascist cult who supports fascism. And if you need any more examples of it, the examples are there. Just go out and look. They're there. Seems like every day in the news we get more information about how the Republican Party, quote unquote party, is sliding off into being more and more fascistic every single day. And shame on the North Carolina governor. Shame. Shame, shame, shame. I learned about the Holocaust in high school, okay? And I will always remember the first time I saw the images of Jewish people. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional here. Jewish people being ran over, okay, with heavy machinery and killed like animals. Okay? Hitler was an evil person. And Hitler is not somebody that should ever, his statement should never, ever be looked at as being somewhat legitimate or somewhat worth looking at. Fuck the Republican Party and fuck this North Carolina lieutenant governor for even for a second having the audacity to suggest that Hitler is not so bad after all. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm sorry to the Jewish people out there, and for the other people that suffered in the Holocaust. That this is where we're at in America. I am sorry. To end it on a little bit more of a light note, because I need a little bit of lightheartedness after that last one. We've got a search underway for a missing pet wallaby in rural Oklahoma town. Oh my goodness. No, not the pet wallaby. All right, folks, here it is. Search underway for missing pet wallaby in rural Oklahoma town. AP. Blanchard, Oklahoma. A search is underway in the rural Oklahoma community of Blanchard for a missing pet wallaby. The animal, which is similar to a kangaroo but smaller, escaped its backyard enclosure on Wednesday and is believed to be in some thick woods near the edge of town, said Diana Daniels, city clerk in Blanchard, which is 30 miles south of Oklahoma City. The animal is not typically aggressive but may kick if it's cornered. Oh no! How did it get out? How did it get out? They can hurt somebody if they approach it and try to corner it. Don't do that. It is legal to own a wallaby in Oklahoma, but the animal should be registered with the city, Daniel said. The wallaby's owner, Gil Gillibreth, uses it for petting zoos. Tells Fox 25 the animal is typically shy and a little skittish. I think he's probably out in that tall grass, maybe, because he likes that tall grass, likes to hide in it, Gillibreth told the television station. Gillibreth said he's working to tame the animal, and as a result, he's going to be hard to catch when we find him. So I didn't know what a wallaby was, and I've never even heard of this animal, honestly. So I looked up some pictures, and guys, just look at this. Oh my God! Look at them! Look at them! Oh, they're adorable! They're adorable, aren't they? Look at that one, so stoic. Oh, his look at their little tiny hands. Their little tiny hands are the size of this end of this guy's finger. Oh my God, they're adorable. So, how do these things get to America? How do you get one? What store do you go to buy a pet wallaby? I could not tell you any of those the answer to any of those questions. And what makes somebody like, how do you know you're qualified to have one of these things in your possession? You know what I mean? Is it like a kangaroo? Is it similar to a kangaroo? Does it have its own unique needs compared to a kangaroo? I just don't know. I'm really, really interested in wallabies now, though. Okay, let's look at some more pictures here. Let's look at some baby wallabies. Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at them! Oh my God, they're adorable. They're adorable. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, this is just awesome. I'm just gonna be silent here and let's look at some pictures of some wallabies. Oh my God! All right, so I think you guys get the point. They're freaking adorable. Let's hope this owner is able to find it, because it's awful to lose a pet. You know what I mean? Whether it's a dog, whether it's a cat, whether it's a turtle, whether it's a pet wallaby, which are apparently here in America. Animals become part of our family, and they become part of so our day-to-day routine in such a way that when they're ripped away from us, you know, it's really, really a visceral, hurtful thing that happens. So let's really hope that this animal is found. And that's all I got for you guys for this show. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, comment down below, let me know what you think about any of the stories of today. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content in the future. All right. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next one. And peace out. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.